Welcome. The following technical support video will show you how to set up color management practices for your specific shop using CorelDraw and the MultiRIP hybrid printing software. The first thing that you're going to want to do is open up CorelDraw and bring a graphic into it. It's the only way that we can get access to the color management. In Corel X3 or 13, you can click on Tools and go down to Color Management. Some of the other versions of Corel, the wording might be a little bit different, but if you go to Corel's website, you should be able to find somewhere on there and how this all will set up and be able to access the different parts that we're going to go through. Depending on what version of the software you have and what computer you have, an operating system, it may take a while for this window to open up, like it is on mine currently right now running on Vista. Please be patient as this window will come up. When the window comes up, what we're going to do is we're going to set our color management up in a way that gives us the best colors. Most people, when they've been running dye sublimation, have been running it with color management off. You'll notice that all of the arrows in this case are all grayed out. What we are going to do is we're going to set up a custom one that allows us to bypass CorelDraw's color engine using our color profiles. Simply turning their color management off will not do this. What you're going to have to do is set up the Corel color management in a specific way that overrides Corel's color engine. The way we're going to start with that is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to double click on the 3-ring icon. You're going to want to make sure that your rendering intent is not set to automatic, but is set to perceptual. You can go ahead and leave the color engine at Kodak Digital Science CMM. The next thing you're going to do is we're going to work with the internal RGB profile. If you scroll through your list, you will either find Color Match RGB or NTSC 1953. Those are the two that I recommend. We're going to set this one up for NTSC 1953. Once we have that set up, we're going to want to use the same exact profile that we choose here for your monitor. So what we'll do is we'll click on that and go down now that we have that drop down box set up. The next thing that you're going to want to do is we are going to want to choose both the generic CMYK profile and the generic offset profile. There are drop down boxes below each one of these. Now when you scroll through this list, you're going to see something very much different. You will not see NTSC 1953 or color match. So through this list up at the top, you will see, depending on what software you have loaded, different ones up at the top that either say 1400, 1800, 4800. In this case, we're going to be installing the 4800 profiles, and we're going to do it for our dye sublimation. So you'll find the ones that say 4800 polyester being a dye sublimation product that we use, and we're going to click on that. We're going to want to set the same exact one up for the generic offset one as well. Now that we have both of them set up, you want to put your cursor over the actual icon for the composite printer and click on that. It's now going to open up another advanced window, and this is where we're actually going to override it. If you'll scroll through this list, you'll see all of the different types of driver print queues that you have set up. What you're going to want to do is you are going to want to click on the different one that we're looking at, and you're going to want to make sure you override it depending on which printer we're going to go to. If you need, you can always expand this over to make sure you have the right one. If you have, like I do, where you have multiple copies, you need to make sure that they're all set to the same one, depending on what port it's being put into. So in this case, we're just going to go ahead and set up all of our 4800s to polyester enhanced. Now we'll go ahead and click OK. You would do the same exact thing for the separations printer as well, which should automatically carry over if you've already done it on the composite printer. Now that we have that set up, now we need to turn on the different arrows. You'll see that there's an arrow coming from the internal RGB going to the composites it is typically grayed out. If you put your cursor over and click on it, it will turn orange. We'll want to do the same exact thing for the CMYK offset printer. The one last thing that we'll want to do is we'll want to turn on the monitor, so that way we have it complete coming back around. You can choose one or the other to make sure it matches up. It's completely your choice. See which ones work best for your monitor. It will look a little bit different from one monitor to the other. The last thing that you also want to look at is in your import and export commands. Typically, as a default, Corel is going to have you ignore any embedded ICC profiles, and you will not embed any when you export it. Depending on how your shop runs, how your graphics are created, this step is going to be different. You have a couple of different options. You can use the embedded profile when it comes in. Just make sure that when you print out that you're printing using the same RGB source profile as well. Or, to make life a little bit simpler, you can always set it to convert your embedded profiles to use NTSC when it brings in the graphics. Whatever you do when you import it, I also recommend you do it when you export it. Just know that if you are converting stuff, there is potential from losing colors from converting it from one color space to the other. Once you hit OK, that'll go ahead and set up that arrows situation as well. The two final things that we're going to do: one, we're going to want to choose our color mode as RGB, because RGB color gamut is so much more broader than the CMYK that you're limiting right off the bat the colors you can reach if you choose CMYK. Now what we've done is we've set up all of this to be our sublimation profile. So what we can do is, currently if you notice up at the top it'll say custom, current settings not saved. Go ahead and click on the plus graphic, and now we can save it as whatever we like. In this case, we can save it as MultiRIP sublimation. And go ahead and hit OK. Now that it's saved up there, all we'd have to do is go ahead and hit OK. You can also do the same exact settings using the heat transfer profile. Same exact thing. When you come down here, you're just going to choose the white cotton graphics one as well when you set that up. Once you get all that, you can also set that up. In this case, we saved it as MultINK heat transfer, and you notice that these graphics drop down boxes have changed as well. Just go ahead and click OK. Now once you have this set up, you just need to make sure that you go and you print out your own color chart. Use that color chart with the same exact settings, and you'll be able to look at the color chart and tell what color you need to set your RGB settings with when you print out, and that'll help you get better control over your colors. If you have additional questions, please contact your MultiRIP distributor. Thank you and have a great day.